Are you feeling overwhelmed some days? Do you feel like life is running you rather than you running your life? Or do you wish you could simplify a little bit? I do as well. Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III, and I'm here with a little bit of inspiration, motivation, and education for you. So today on the Mastermind, I want to give you some tips to simplify your life while also 10xing your productivity. And so let's go ahead and start with the quote of the day. The quote of the day from the Daily Mastermind mobile app is by Bob Proctor. I love Bob Proctor. You can't win if you quit. It's pretty much as simple as that. You can't win if you quit. So don't quit. That's the quote of the day on the Daily Mastermind mobile app. Download that if you haven't, because it's free and it's got a ton of resources. Now let's talk about simplifying your life a little bit. I want to help you simplify your life. But I want you to first think a little bit about what it is that you have going on, what it is that you're working on day to day, what it is you're spending your time on. Because if you're not tracking your time, then you're not being productive and you're not creating a life. I would argue that you're not even living a life. You're just going from day to day. And I know that a lot of us get to those places where we feel like life's just happening, right? We're on a treadmill, we're going like crazy, everything's throwing us every direction, and we're not really in control. But what I want to do is I want to talk about a couple of things. First, I want to discuss your perspective on when you have a lot going on, because your perspective is really key, right? You can have a negative or a positive perspective even if you're doing it subconsciously, because the key is having a perspective of abundance and opportunity. In other words, when you have a lot going on, do you start to wish you had something different? Do you start to feel overwhelmed? Or do you say, wow, I'm so grateful for all the opportunities. I'm so grateful for everything going on. And then get productive and on organizing and simplifying and clarifying what your life is. See, it's important for you to start where you're at. In other words, this podcast, this episode, and everything we talk about is not about getting to a place or changing everything you got going on. Because if you don't start with gratitude and with a perspective of abundance and with a perspective of success and opportunity, you've already failed. So I want you to look at your life right now, not as, and it doesn't matter if you're crushing it right now or you're behind the eight ball or you're in debt or you lost your job or you're getting more. I'm being sincere with you when I say you have to start with where you're at in a place of gratitude. You have to think life for life in general. Think, God, the universe, people around you, whatever it is. Have this attitude of gratitude, because you need to realize that wherever you're at, there are benefits. There are things to be grateful for. And all it takes is getting in a state of service or looking around the world to see that there's a lot of hurt going on out there. And so you have to start with gratitude of where you're at. And when you have that perspective of abundance and opportunity, and that you're overwhelmed, but you're overwhelmed with opportunity, you're not overwhelmed with, circumstances, you start with a place of abundance and you're going to go really, really far. Then second, now let's talk about ways that you can create simplicity and yet 10x your productivity. Because this is a real counterintuitive thought, but the principle that I want to really, really emphasize for you, and I struggle with this, and I constantly come back to it. It's going to be a lifelong deal. But what I've learned from the biggest, and I've been around 7, 8, 9-figure earners, people with huge success, people with simple lives, whatever it is, and over and over, I've learned the concept that simplicity will actually increase your productivity. I was watching an interview just the other day. In fact, it might have been a meme, but I've seen it before, with Elon Musk, and this interviewer was asking him. He was saying, how do you create this business plan for rockets? I mean, they could blow up. There's so many factors. He goes, I don't have a business plan. And everybody laughed and joked. But here's the bottom line. When you have clarity and simplicity in your life and single focus, you don't worry about a lot of the details, because your focus and your clarity and your simplicity will take you where you want to be. So what I'm saying to you here is I'm going to give you some tips that I've used and I've learned that other people have used that have helped them to simplify their life. But I'm telling you that the dichotomy is that you can simplify your life and increase your productivity. And you've got to learn that principle. So let's talk about a few things. The number one thing right off the bat I got to tell you is that in order to simplify your life, you have to have clarity. So the first one's clarity. The only way you can direct your efforts is to know where you're going. The only way that you can choose what tasks to work on or not work on is to know where you want to end up. Clarity of what your unique talent is, clarity of where you're going, that is such a key point. So you've got to find a way to create clarity in your life, in your business, in your relationships. The second thing is I want you to create focus. Now, I love this acronym, follow one course until successful. Because so many times in my life, I love the opportunities and I've got so many opportunities, but it always comes back to focus. When you can follow one course until successful, then you'll be able to knock out a second. Then you'll be able to knock out a third. Then you'll be able to knock out a fourth. And I get it. Some of you have responsibilities you can't get rid of, but at least pick the one thing that fits your clarity that you can focus on and follow until successful. Focus. Follow one course until successful. Then you can bite off all these other shiny objects that we've been chasing as entrepreneurs, right? And then the third tip is just be present. See, I love being present because nothing robs the joy of the present like your vision of the future or your memories of the past. You've got to be present. When you create a present focus and center yourself on the tasks that you're doing, you're going to be, number one, way more productive. And number two, you're not going to be distracted and feel overwhelmed. See, it's when we're doing things and we're distracted with all the other things we're supposed to still do that we can't enjoy ourselves. We can't create a life and we can't be productive. So really make a conscious effort to be present in the opportunities, the tasks, the things that you're working on. The fourth thing is time blocking. And I've gotten this from pretty much every major productive, successful entrepreneur that I've known. Time blocking is a key, and it's a key for a couple reasons. When you time block your schedule, then things won't stick into it. They won't slip into it. But also what I've learned, and I've found that usually like a 60 to 90 minute time frame is a good time frame. See, anything over that, sometimes you get a little overwhelmed and you lose your creativity. But anything less than that, you don't really get into the task. You don't really get into the meeting. You really don't get into the stuff. Now, I'm not talking about meetings being long, but time blocking the key big rocks that are going to take you closer to your clarity, whether it's creativity, whether it's preparation, whether it's executing on a task in marketing or sales. Block times for these key things and then let the other little things fill in around it. The fifth suggestion I have is it centers around technology. One of the things that I really have learned, and I know you've experienced this, is that technology is supposed to help us be more productive, and yet it's making us feel more overwhelmed. Technology is a key. So what I want you to do is I want you to be aware, just like we talked about yesterday, being aware of your thoughts. You need to be aware of your technology use. Pick up your phone, log into your settings, and look and see what your phone use is. I think it'll probably surprise you how much you're on these apps or those apps or social media or what it is. And don't fool yourself. One of the things I hate about all of these so-called gurus out there in the marketplace right now is they tell you like crazy to be on social media. Here's the deal. If you don't have a way to monetize or create opportunity, it's a waste of your time. If you don't have a business that the clarity, the vision that you have requires that, it's a waste of your time. Don't think you can just get on there and create branding and overview and then one day you're going to find a way to make money. That's not a plan. You need to have clarity on what you're going to do. But this technology is distracting. This technology is a problem for most entrepreneurs. So you need to create boundaries. You need to create times that you use technology and times that you completely set it aside, especially when you're trying to be creative, productive, or you have a task you got to get done. Don't let the notifications go off. Don't let put your phone on silent. Put your YouTube videos playing in the background off. Do what you need to do to create some boundaries around technology. Then technology will truly be a benefit for you. And the last suggestion I have is make sure that you really create time for you and time for concentration. My partner Robert Stuberg always talks about his CPR program. CPR is an acronym that stands for concentration, preparation, and recovery. Those are the three things you need to have in your day-to-day, in your schedule, and in your life. Concentration times, this is your strategy. This is when you're creating clarity. This is when you're creating focus. Your preparation, which is when you're executing on things and you're making them happen. And then recovery. I can't emphasize enough the idea behind recovery because it's like working out in the gym. It's not when you break your muscles down and you stress or you work out that you grow. It's the recovery from when you work your muscles out or work your cardio out. It's the recovery that grows you. So make sure you have concentration, preparation, and recovery time, CPR, in your schedule. Block those times in. So once again, the tips that I would suggest would be clarity, focus, be present, time blocking, technology, and even concentration time on a daily or weekly basis. And I want to draw your attention back to that really important thought I have, and that I realize it's counterintuitive to reduce the number of tasks, reduce the focus that you have, and that it will create more results. But you've got to learn this principle. Simplicity will increase your productivity. And it'll be a lifelong battle, so you've got to continue to remind yourself that. That's my message for today. I hope that's some real tangible things you can use and execute on. I promise you, if you'll create more simplicity and focus and clarity in your life, you are going to get way more productive and have much greater success in your life and prosperity. That's our message for today. So share this episode. If you got value out of it, share it with a friend. It would really mean a lot to us. It would really mean a lot to others to be able to share these concepts. And I look forward to talking with you again this next week. I've got some really cool stuff to drop and let you in on. So once again, this is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.